Hey guys, this is the Bum Project. So today I'm putting together this guide on the basics for those looking at getting into investing in silver, and I'm going to go over pretty much everything that I wanted to know myself when I first started investing in precious metals. So if you happen to stumble upon this channel, you guys probably came here because you heard of the incredible potential that silver as an investment has. But if you were looking for some of the basics, I'll put down a few good links down below in the descriptions bar. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the different types of silver, what to invest in, what to look out for, and where to buy. So getting into it, there's various ways to invest in silver, but let's start with the basics. So here we have a few different types of options, and the first one I'm going to go over is junk silver. And right here we have a 1953 quarter as well as a 1942 nickel. So junk silver is a term used to describe these coins which have no collectible value but rather hold its worth in the silver content that's inside them. And a great site to check out to find out exactly how much these guys are worth at any given moment is coinflation.com. And some of the pros of investing in junk silver are, for one, cost. So most times you're going to find junk silver for cheaper and closer to spot than any of the other investment options that I'm going to mention. Number two is there's little worry of counterfeiting, and personally I've yet to hear of any counterfeiting of junk silver going on, but you find that more in the items with higher premiums normally, and also in the worst case scenario they're always backed by their face value. So this will always be 25 cents and this would always be 5 cents. Okay, so going into generic rounds and bars, so this right here, this is a generic round. And these right here are some bars. So this is a 1 ounce bar from APMEX, and this is a 10 ounce bar from Sunshine Mining. And in most cases, these rounds are 0.999 fine silver, as often stated on the round somewhere or the bar. But what that means is that there's 99.9% silver content in them. And this is how I personally got started investing in silver. So some of the pros of these guys are, for one, they're generally cheaper and there's less of a premium than government issued coins. Number two is that it's commonly traded and often sought out. This is the type of bullion that a lot of people look for. And for the rounds, in most cases, the sizes are pretty universal, and you could store them in these tube type containers. And many of these bars are stackable, so storage can be easier with these guys sometimes. So now we're going to talk about the government issued bullion coins, and these are coins issued from government mints and typically have a face value on them. And in front of us we got a Philharmonic right here, we got a Chinese Panda, Canadian Maple, and an American Silver Eagle. And for the most part they're going to be 99.9% pure, except for this Canadian Maple right here, which is 99.99% purity. And one of the pros of these government issued coins is that they're easily recognizable, and in most cases they're going to sell for a higher premium. But also on the flip side, because they're so sought after, one thing to keep in mind is that they're probably the most counterfeited coins, so you really have to be careful when you buy these government issued bullion off the streets. Another pro is that if you do have these guys, a lot of times there's going to be loopholes in the system that you can take advantage of. So just as an example, this is what I heard just recently, but let's take the American Silver Eagle coin. When transporting, I heard that you could actually declare this as currency. For example, since this is since the face value of the American Silver Eagle is $1, if you were to, let's say, take this outside the US, you could declare this. For example, if you were to carry a tube of 20, you could declare that as $20 instead of the silver content, which would be more about $800. And there's little things like that which could benefit you in the long run depending on your circumstance. Also with the American Silver Eagle, there's an interesting fact that there's a limited amount of these that can be made. So it's a federal law that these can only be created with the silver mined in the United States. So as the years go by, I could only see this becoming a really bullish factor in these coins right here as silver gets more scarce. So I think this would hold its value very well, even with the premiums. And there's an argument that many of the needs of industry require 99.99% purity that these Canadian maples have. So this may be a really good investment as well, as silver becomes more rare in the future, because these coins may be in higher demand and could potentially generate a higher profit when you actually sell. Okay, so getting into where to buy. So even though there's a multitude of ways to buy bullion, the most common ways to buy are either online, at your local coin store, or from other individuals. So when it comes to shopping online, the sites that I shop at most are Monarch Precious Metals, First Majestic, and APMEX. And I'm not saying that these are the best or the cheapest sites to shop at, but it's the ones that I personally use the most. And what I do is I normally wait for these vendors to have a special. But normally the only time I do buy from the internet is when I have to use my credit card. And you can also find some great deals on eBay from time to time, but it's not my personal preference of buying. My actual personal favorite way to buy silver is through my local coin shop, and the reason for that is, for one, there's little worry about counterfeit, and I'm not saying that it's impossible for this to happen, but it's really unlikely because any reputable dealer will have a good eye for counterfeits, and they know exactly what to look out for when they buy their inventory. And another reason that I like to buy from my local coin shop is because of the overall buying experience. For one, there's no shipping charges involved, so it helps with me with the overall cost. You can get your silver immediately, so you don't have to worry about how it's coming in the mail, whether you have to sign for it, whether you have to be home, and you could also see the product that you're buying before committing to it. And most times they're going to have a good variety of silver to choose from. So the other option that I talked about is buying from individuals, and normally you'll find that you could buy silver for the best prices when buying through one-on-one transactions, because a lot of investors don't charge premiums, and some will even sell their silver for under spot price. But the only problem is that out of the three buying methods that we've mentioned, this is probably the riskiest. So one thing that I do recommend when buying from individuals is that you, one, meet them at a safe location. For example, a local bank or anywhere with a high level of security and cameras maybe. Number two is to carry a scale and know what to measure for. So I'm going to show you guys a scale that I bought off eBay. This right here, this was $15 on eBay. And you know, eventually with practice, I think you'll get the hang of, you'll know exactly what to look out for. But most bullion they weigh 1 troy ounce. So I'm going to take this round right here, I'm going to put it on the scale, and this one right here, so it's kind of wavering between 31.2 and 31.3, but that's an acceptable weight right there, and I know for a fact that this is not a fake. But if you do, let's say, find one of these that weigh in the mid-20s, that should definitely set off a red flag. One thing that you have to do is to go with your gut. If something doesn't feel right, then don't do it. I personally never had issues when buying from other individuals, but I would always use common sense, whether it be meeting the person at the right place, making the decision to buy, looking at their inventory. You know, you just have to use common sense in most cases. But okay guys, there you have it. A few other tips would be, try not to touch them as much as possible, because the oils in your hands can be damaging in the long run. But if you have to, it's recommended that you wear gloves. Don't do this that I'm doing right now. But when I do pick up these rounds with my bare hands, I try to grab the edges when possible. So also try to keep them protected by not telling people about your investments, and store them in a secure location. For me, even though there's a lot of debate about this, and I do recommend that you do your own research, I would never keep the majority of my personal stash in my house. And one of the things that I noticed that I've been using a lot recently is my phone. And I had this Android phone right here, but wow, silver prices just went up to $41.20. But this comes in handy when you meet other people. Let's say you were to go to the local coin store, or if you were to meet other individuals for purchase, you could know exactly what silver spot price is going for at that moment. But anyways, that's all I have for now, guys. But thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you around.